Hey everybody, it is Karla Silver. Super excited to be here with you guys today. We meet every single Friday. Typically we have some special kind of marketing that we're teaching, but today we decided that we were going to bring a very special guest. Gosh, I'm having this sense of deja vu, John. This amazing sense of deja vu. I've been privileged and honored to be introducing this gentleman over the last 14 years periodically. And I was watching the Olympics last night and I was thinking, you know, these individuals that have excelled in their sport, right? These individuals that are achieved so much greatness, no matter if they just attended as an athlete, the Olympics, or they stood on a podium, right? It doesn't matter. These people have worked their butts off and achieved greatness in their sport. And I was thinking this morning, I get to work with all of you that are toiling in the background, looking to achieve greatness in your businesses. And I've said this a couple times this week, it's amazing to me that we all get to, and I mean, get to is the perfect word. We can all have the opportunity to stand on top of the podium receiving our gold medal. There isn't just one winner here. But I've had the opportunity to work with this gentleman that I get the opportunity today to introduce on and off for the past 14 years. And this is a guy that I have ultimate respect for. He's a cut to the chase kind of guy. He's a tremendous leader. He has so many good things to share, not just with personal development side, his marketing ideas, his ideas that he can share with us today that we can take right into our business. And I'm rambling on, and I don't want to. I want to bring this guy out. This John Lavenia is the other half of Shannon Lavenia, who you all are familiar with. We are very excited to welcome him to the team. This is his first outing, I guess, John, on any kind of team, Zoom or call, and excited to have you here. John's going to talk today about going fast. This is something that I've watched him do time after time after time after time. And I think that he doesn't believe in going slow. So I just want to, if you would come out, introduce yourself better than I introduced you. Tell us a little bit about your journey, and we're going to dive into it in just a second. So John, come on out here.
Here I am. I'm out here, and it's good to be here with everybody. Some of you I've met before. Some I've just meeting now. I'm meeting Karina as she's eating. Hi, Karina. It looks like you've got some good food going on there. And yeah, I could see a few of you. So as far as going fast, I only know one speed, you know, and that's the pace that we set, that each of us set for ourselves. So really, Karla, it's about standards. When I think about, you know, what causes me to go fast, my standards are just high, you know, and after having studied personal development philosophy and success psychology for the past 3 decades, to whatever extent I can have integrity to what I've learned, I get to go fast. And to whatever extent I fail to have integrity, I get to go slow. And so I look at it as you know, we're either in or we're out. We're either doing it or we're not doing it. But this whole maybe thing, you know, this whole, you know, kind of, you know, give it a shot or see if this works for me, that's never bear fruit in my life, you know, as I can see. So just, you know, doing a bit of introspection and considering, you know, what do I want to accomplish? What are my postulates? Where am I going? Now, what part of that can I be responsible for? What can I do right now to move closer to that? With as big a step as I could take, or if it's a small step, well, if that's the only step I could take, well, I'll take that step. But this is the philosophy that I base it on. It's A to B, and you know, I guess I'll learn a bit more about balance in life at some point. But right now, I'm not here to mentor anybody on balance in life. I have no idea how to achieve that. But but accomplishing results. Yeah, that leads to balance, right? Because we have options now, because we make a lot of money and we can go ahead and do things with our time that we want to do. So so I guess there's a preamble. Do you need me to introduce myself more? For those who don't know me, I'm an author and speaker. I've been in the direct sales world successfully for a couple of decades. I've been around it longer than that. And yeah, I've mentored thousands of people who've gone on to collectively make hundreds of millions of dollars. So, and Karla and I have had the chance to work together several times throughout the past couple decades, and she's made some of those millions. So it's really, really good to be working with you again, Karla.
Thank you. And you brought up a word that I thought was really important, that was instrumental to me. You've written a book called Integrity is Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And before I read the book, my idea of the word integrity just meant honesty. But after reading the book, I realized it actually had a profound influence on how I looked at my day-to-day activities, and how it actually had some great influence on my results. Can you tell us, because you mentioned integrity before, and I know that maybe people are hearing it from a different frame of reference than I did prior to reading the book. Talk to us a little bit about how integrity helps you move forward.
Oh, sure. Well, let me grab a copy of the book, because the first page of the book is the definition. So if we're going to talk about integrity, we got to know what we're talking about, right? So let's look at the best self-help book ever written, which isn't this, it's the dictionary. And so from the dictionary, the best self-help book ever written, I got some meanings of words here. And so it says here, integrity, adherence to moral and ethical principles. Moral and ethical, those are two different things, okay? Does everybody know the difference between morals and ethics? I see a nod, or a few people are on camera here. Okay, so so morals are that which are agreed by the mores of society, right? Here's what's normal, here's what's right, don't kill, right? It'd be immoral to kill. We all agree about that. Okay, great. So murder would be immoral. Okay, ethics are personal to the individual, right? That's regardless of, you know, what society thinks about it, or, you know, what is agreed upon as far as like a moral code. Okay, so it's adherence to moral and ethical principles. So what's right for me, right? And what am I doing to cause more benefit in the world based on my ethics? Okay, so there's that. So adherence to moral and ethical principles, soundness of moral character, honesty. There's the word you just brought up, Karla, honesty. Okay, so there's the first definition. Second definition, a sound, unimpaired, or perfect condition, completeness. Completeness. Think about that. So when we say, all right, we're gonna do marketing, right? Is that a decision, or is that like you know, maybe we should? We're gonna do marketing if, but, right, and then all the other stuff that comes after that, right? So it's completeness. It's not a work in progress. It's already done. It's already good enough, right? It's already a product that you can take to market, that sort of thing. And when I consider myself as that, which, by the way, this is laborious, right? This requires thought. This is not, I mean, just because somebody has integrity doesn't mean they're going to never doubt themselves or anything like that, okay? But to remind ourselves that, yeah, you know, I'm pretty marketable as I am now, personally marketable, right? As we're talking about in the context of being online marketers, network marketers, direct salespeople, whatever you want to label your profession, you've got to be a complete product already. You do. Okay. There's certainly a product that people exchange money for via the product of you, which is the purveyor of value. You're the one who's actually putting it out there, right? So you've got to know that there's value in that. The late Jim Rohn said, if you want to increase your income, increase your value to the marketplace. That's a direct quote. If you want to increase your income, increase your value to the marketplace. That means you have to know that there's value, and it can't be a secret. It has to be put into the marketplace. You get it? So here's the value, and I know it, and now other people are going to know it, right? That's why we do marketing, because we already have a complete product ready to go to market. We don't go to market just to try and get, which a lot of people do, right? And there's a lot of anxiety around that. I need to get leads. I need to get money, get like a rat looking for cheese, right? That's the typical marketer. But if we approach it from the context of I already have value, and I go to market in order to deliver benefits. And of course there's exchange. That's just a law. You can't break the law. You can only break yourself against the law. Therefore, if I put value into the marketplace, that, you know, he who outflows must inflow, right? It's just like the tide. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. So go send the tide out, right? Because you know you've got value. That's why you're reaching into the marketplace. So that's a big difference right there. The third and final definition for the word integrity is the quality or condition of being whole, undivided, or undiminished. So think of like a building. Like right now I'm sitting at my desk, which is inside a house, which is on a foundation, which is on a planet, right? which is fixed in space in the universe, right? So there's some integrity there, structural integrity. And when I think about that as an individual, I think of the concept of as within, so without, right? As within, so without. So there's no part of me which is not me. In other words, when I go to market, when I deliver a marketing message, a sales message, when I'm talking to a prospect or someone who's potentially interested or purportedly interested in increasing their results in their life, it's not like I'm putting on a facade. Oh, wait, let me put this John in the closet and get out the fake John or something. No, it's just and it may not even be glamorous, but it's real, right? So I don't need to fake anything. And so you see how these things are all related, right? There's morals, there's ethics, there's honesty, which lends itself to knowing that one has value and is complete and is not divided in their constitution of who they are, as within, so without. So at a moment's notice, like, hey, John, can you come host this call with us? You squeeze the orange, what's going to come out is orange juice, right? It's not negotiable. The orange doesn't have to think about it, right? So I'm asked this question and there's the answer, because I didn't have to, I don't have a script, right? I don't need a script. And so as you are in business is as you are in life. And so that's the integrity I speak of, right? It's a very important question. The question is not necessarily what are we doing, okay, but who is doing it? That's the question. And if we answer that question powerfully, if we've got the power within ourselves to answer that powerfully, well, do whatever you want. You're going to win, right? I mean, if it's your intention, to cause winning for yourself and others, you're going to win. And it may not always be via the plan that you suspected in your best thinking, right? I can tell you that multiple times in my life. I've got lots of plans, so that's nice. And then you know what? We do what we do to shape the circumstances to suit our intentions, whether that's based on plans or not. Okay, we're all working here in the material world with circumstances and everything else. What can we do to be cause over those circumstances? Because intention is what creates all of this. Okay, regardless of what those circumstances may be. That was just a big philosophical rant based on one word. Give me another word to talk about.
Intention and going fast. That's one word plus a couple other ones.
Okay, so intention. So we think about the profession that we're actually in, which is direct sales, online marketing, network marketing, and whatever aspect of that you identify with. We're in the communication business. So we're communicating a message to the public in order to have some sort of an effect. Okay, so I intend to have an effect on a target audience, right? Just like every time somebody turns on a television, okay, so they're going to watch the show, right? And the effect is one of entertainment, and it's a comedy, or it's a tragedy, or it's a drama, or children's programming, whatever it is, somebody's watching the show. And then injected into the programming of the show is advertisements, right? Here's a buy the toys. I know my daughter is always, oh, I want that toy. Oh, great. Where'd you learn about that? Well, guess where she learned about that? Someone impinged on her and put her attention on that which they offer. Okay. So there was an intention to communicate to that person, to that individual who was living in ignorance about the benefits that could be theirs. They don't know that this toy exists, right? I'm using my daughter here as an example. Okay. But it works just as well on a 47-year-old as it does on a 7-year-old. Okay. It's the same exact process. So we intend to communicate a message for the purpose of having an effect. What is that effect? The effect is the increase of demand for that which we supply. So if we look at marketing in its essence, the anatomy of marketing itself, it is reaching into the public, impinging on their space, yes, impinging, okay, and putting their attention on that which you offer, purpose of which is to increase the demand for what you supply. Okay, I'll say that whole definition again. The purpose of marketing, or what marketing is reaching into the public, impinging on their space, putting their attention on that which you offer, purpose of which is to increase the demand for what you supply. All right, so that's your intention. to do that is to attract their attention. So you see, we've got intention and attention. All right. When you put those things together, when you're able to intend that attention comes in your direction, okay, and then again, this is where Jim Rohn said, increase your value to the marketplace. That's where we get into increasing the demand because we're actually communicating. We're not running a secret business or anything like that. And that lends to going fast, right? If we're talking about going fast, which is, I think, the basic topic of this whole talk today, well, the more you can put attention on yourself, and the more you intend to do that and execute that intention by doing something. And by the way, I am not a pro at this. There are way better marketers than me in the world. Way, way, way better. Maybe not way more intentional. So maybe 10 words from John equals 10,000 words from somebody else, just because of how intentional I am and how definite I am with my purpose, right? So again, the big question, not just what are you doing, but who's doing it? That's the bigger question, right? And again, I'm not setting myself up as the ideal in that way. I already just admitted that I'm not the best marketer in the world. I gotta learn some stuff, right? My goodness, this is 2018. The web constantly changing. There's 7 billion people on the planet. How do we impinge on their space? Good question. Well, there's lots of ways, and now I can get mired in all the possibilities of different ways to do things. But let's pick one right now, and let's execute that one. Right? That's something I could do to go fast, right? And so, in my case, in case it's not already obvious, I like to run my mouth. That's it. I'm a professional talker, right? So I've got, my mouth and like a webcam or something or a podcast, and that's it. Right. And then those who are interested to listen do. And then other people say, oh, wow, you got to hear this guy, John Lavenia. Oh, read this book. But by the way, Karla, that's probably one of the best things I ever did was write that book. It's not for the money, right? I make like $8 or something. Amazon still sends me royalty checks every week, for like $10 or whatever it is. I've done no marketing at all on that book, but still, yeah. So now think about this. When we're talking about who's doing it, we're talking about you establishing some authority in the marketplace. I'm talking to all of you, right? And all of you can do this. Everybody can do this. Anybody can write a book. Okay. Out of every 1,000 people who say they're going to, one does. And every book that's published, 1 out of 1,000 actually sells more than like 1,000 copies or whatever. So I guess I'm in the top 1/10 of 1% or something, just because I actually wrote and sold a book. Okay. Again, that's just integrity, right? Just do what you say you want to do. So in my case, that's something I wanted to do. But you think about the authority that you want to command in the marketplace to go faster, so that there's attention that's given to you when you speak. Think about the word authority right there. So the first 2 syllables are author, authority, AUTHOR, author, right? So can you write something, right? Maybe a 10-page ebook, or, throw that on a web page and give it out for free. And now people can opt into your lists. I don't know how marketing savvy people are in terms of like list building here, but what is that, right? That's simple, right? The 10 tips for, business seekers in the 21st century, or I don't know, come up with something that you're interested in, that something about, and create some content, a video series, something, anything that could attract positive attention to yourself and uplift and edify, okay, people who are right now, maybe they don't have direction. Maybe they're looking for somebody with direction. They're looking for a leader. Hopefully that's you, right? So, and by the way, the word edify, I know that gets kicked around a lot. We'll just define that. That means to build up through education. That's what that means. So for my own edification, meaning so that I know more and that I'm more able, right? Teach me something, right? A lot of times the word edify is used to praise someone or to glorify someone. But I'm going to give you the actual use of the word, since we're talking about words here, because that's my intention, is to make sure you understand the words we're working with. Edification is where you're enlightening and building someone up through education. Okay. In fact, the whole sales process, which is a process, not an event. Okay. A lot of people think, well, I put out an ad, where's my $1 million? No, sales is not an event. It's a process. Okay. So that process is one of enlightenment. We are taking the public, the raw public, who are living in ignorance, quite often painful ignorance. They're in their job right now. They don't know that this exists. right? They're living in ignorance. They are unenlightened. And so we are now going to transfer some knowingness to them, which means we have to have it first, right? Because you can't give what you don't have. So we have to know something, and then we have to get in communication with people, impinging on them and helping lift them out of their ignorance to a state of a higher level of knowingness and therefore enthusiasm about the benefits that could be theirs if they would but participate, right? That's simple enough. That's a process of enlightenment. That is the transfer of enthusiasm from one mind to another. We do that via communication. But again, the intention that underlies all of that is one of delivering value, delivering benefit, not trying to get like a rat, okay? You're not rats. Don't act like rats. You go with the intention of service, right? This is right out of Think and Grow Rich. He talks about Napoleon Hill. Anyone who hasn't read that book, download a free copy right now. You can get it all over the internet. It's out of copyright, so you don't even have to pay for it. But what he talks about is the QQS quotient. So you've got Q, quality, Q, quantity, and S, spirit of the service that you're rendering. So QQS. Your income is in direct ratio to the quality, quantity, and spirit of the service that you deliver into the marketplace, right? Consider that. Okay, so you are here to outflow benefit, and therefore you must inflow money. Just like the tide we were talking about. The current goes out, the current comes in, right? We're talking about currency here. Water, money, right? Whatever currency we're talking about when it comes to nature, yeah, the currency of the tide, there's water. It works all the time. You can't break the law. You can only break yourself against the law, and there are people who've tried, okay? But you can't break the law, like of the tide, okay? So here we have the law of rhythm, and we have the law of exchange, right? Those who put out an outflow, benefit will inflow currency of another type, okay? And that's just how life works. So that was the word intention. What was your next word?
My next word is, you mentioned that the sales process is not an event, right? It's a process. Our sales is not an event, it's a process. Right. So we're talking about going faster here today. We all have seen different examples of creating urgency. So I've got two questions, and maybe this is just one question. I can see how some people would think when you're brand new, it's easy to create urgency, but I don't actually always agree with that, number one. And number two, the second part of that question is, okay, I've been here for a month, or I've been here for 6 months, or maybe I've been here as long as anyone's been here, a whole year. And how do I reboot and also shorten that sales process, right? The process, some people say, oh, it takes 12 hits. You've got to communicate 12 to 20 times with somebody on the internet before they're going to pay attention to you. You and Shannon have done a tremendous job over the past whole week and a half that you've been here of shortening that sales cycle. How do you do it?
Oh, we'll reduce the amount of time it takes to get stuff done. And you say a week and a half. I feel like it's been like 3 days because we were in the process of unpacking from a move. We had to go back and forth between states for a big event that we had 2 years of planning to launch this event. My goodness, I've had almost no attention to put on this, almost none. It's been total unreasonable insanity in my life. So what does that mean? That means that, well, I got to get from A to B, but I got less time to do it. I've got much less time than most people. So we're not going to belabor decisions as long. And that's where people want to go fast. That's the thing that eats up the most time I have found in my own life and my own experience is the decision-making process. Think about this. What should I do? As long as I'm in that question, I'm not in action. As soon as I've made a decision, well, now I don't have to think about it anymore, right? I've cut myself off from all other possibilities. Now I've made a decision, and I'll know that I've made a decision because I'll see my feet moving, right? Because now that I've decided, now the action is happening. No decision, I'm sorry, no action means no decision. A decision without action is not a decision, okay? To decide without action is to not have decided. So most people eat up most of their time stuck in the maybe of what I should do. And because they want to avoid mistakes, which is rational. That's nice, right? But think about this. When it comes to surviving in the world and in life and doing whatever you're doing to continue on to tomorrow, you can make decisions really quick, right? So you decide, I'm going to eat. Okay. Like I had to, my daughter, right? She's 7, and I just had to drop off Shannon at the airport. I'm like, all right, let me get her food, because I already made a decision that, you know, this other human who's a dependent on me is going to have to put food into their body to survive. Right. So I made that decision. We got to the breakfast place. We got back just in time to do this call. Cool. All right. Now, had I sat around thinking about, well, where should we go to breakfast? Well, I'm not sure, you know, who's the leader here? Oh, I'm the leader. Great. So we're going to breakfast. Let's order some food. Let's get out of here. Done. So that was a decision. I got more done. Now, there are people who are still looking at the menu. Okay. I get more done than they do. When it comes to like things in business, we want to avoid mistakes, right? Because we want to survive to tomorrow. We don't walk out in front of cars, right? That would be another example, just to give you more of an objective example of where I'm going with this. So you can make a decision really fast not to walk out into the street in front of that car that's driving towards you, right? So this is good survival stuff. This is really great. Can you make decisions that quickly in business? Usually the answer is no. Usually people are like, no, I got to think about this. And well, if you could induce that same rapidity of decisiveness in other people, and understand, anyone in the direct sales world, right? You're inducing decisions in others. You're collecting decisions, right? You're not just a tour guide or something. And a lot of people, so-called salespeople, they're like tour guides, right? But if you can induce decision in others with greater rapidity, then you're going to find that people tend to get started quicker. So how do you create that urgency, right? Typically, it's going to be, well, there's many different ways to manifest this, but there's 2 main ways that people are motivated to do something, right? So the prospect of gain or the fear of loss, right? So the prospect of gain is, you know, we're going to go get breakfast now, right? That was a plus decision that we can make. The fear of loss is we're not going to step out in front of the car, right? That was a minus decision that we made. We made both of those decisions today. Okay. We did that very, very quickly. Okay. Now, in this case, when it comes to someone perhaps changing their method of, you know, supporting their family, or, you know, their immediate financial future and what they're doing for their quality of life, it's a bit more complex decision in some cases. So usually it's going to be where, you know, someone has the hope for gain, but also the fear of loss combined, right? So certainly we want to gain, right? Even the rat wants the cheese. Okay, of course. So this is just basic, you know, how the mind works. But at the same time, this cheese is going away. Okay, or this cheese will be diminished. I've got people who just in the last few days have gotten started, who have, brand new. They know as much as me, which is nothing. Okay, all we know is this is really cool. We're going to do this. So keep in mind, right? I don't know. I just learned how to log into the website. I don't know like anything really. I know a couple of things because I've talked with people like you, Karla, and, you know, others. But you have questions about like comp plans and stuff. I have no idea. How does it work? It works really well. I made like 13,000 my first week. But what are all the details about that? I don't know. However, I do know this, that the people who have gotten started just in the last couple of days already have a ton of sales volume under them because of how the comp plan structure works. Can you communicate that? It doesn't have to be overt or screaming or anything, but even subtly, it's like, look, the train's leaving the station. And if you're right here at the beginning of this operation that we're putting in place, there are some advantages to that. Okay, I don't think I need to belabor that. But again, because of who I am, as I'm able to communicate that with people, then there's iron in my words. People know I'm actually going to do something, right? This is not just talk. Okay, so we'll go to whatever lengths with integrity and with ethics in. Okay, we'll go to whatever lengths to make this happen, not just for myself, but for the people who want to go get on the rocket ship ride with us. Well, there's some considerations around that. Oh, maybe I should just go ahead and make a decision right now. I mean, after all, we're talking about a big thing that's about to happen here. I don't want to miss out, and I certainly want to gain. So you see, there's urgency now. There's the prospect of gain, but there's also, you know, the loss of, you know, every minute that somebody waits, somebody else is taking their spot. That's just a fact. That's not even like hype or you know, like false scarcity or marketing tricks or anything like that. That's just fact. And people can, I guess, practice avoidance, and a lot of people do because people like to avoid making decisions. But those who made decisions are already big smiles on their face because of what's happening in the team. And why is it happening? Because it's my intention for it to happen. It's other people's intentions, not just John. It's other people's intentions too. Thank goodness for the team. I don't know anything. I'm a newbie here. I'm just learning, right? So a bit of humility in that too, right? It's okay to not know everything. Part of being a responsible and intentional person is knowing, what you know and knowing what you don't know. Okay. And like right now, I'm looking at people like you, Karla, to show me a couple of things here. I don't know. I mean, I
don't know anything.
Philosophy, but, this comp plan, that I don't know. How does it work? It works really well. That's it.
I think that's it's something that I've repeated over and over and over again. The less you know, the more money you make. And I think sometimes what happens when people start digging deep into the comp plan, and yes, we all have to ultimately understand what we have our hands on. And yes, we have to ultimately understand how the compensation plan works. But I think it frequently bogs us down in the details, and then we lose that sense of urgency. We know too much, and we tend to run our mouths, right? And when you run your mouth, well, at least when I run my mouth with my prospects, I tend to unsell. And so I think it's a beautiful thing to just be completely, the word we kick around here is submit to the system and follow the old adage that if it's not necessary to say, it's necessary not to say it. And you have a wonderful economy with words. You like to talk, but you have very to the point. What's your decision? Let's go, jump on the train. So there's a little bit of a different, what would you say to that person that's been here, I don't know, 9 months, maybe they've stopped and started, hadn't 100% made that decision, because of course, if they had, they would have taken the action and then gotten some results. What would you counsel that person? Is it just as simple to say, hey, flip the switch? Or is there something more that we can offer that person that says, you know what, I'm ready to make that decision. I'm ready. I want to go fast, but I'm not quite getting how to get there in my head, because it is all here, right?
Yeah. Well, I would say a couple things that people could do. Flip the switch is kind of arbitrary and sounds kind of like a platitude, like some motivational speaker is going to give them some I'm okay, you're okay, new age, BS, and I'm not here to do that. Okay, so the first thing I would say in order to flip the switch, here's how you flip the switch, is that you say that right now, at this exact time, everything that's happened up to this moment, even 5 minutes ago, is how I operated prior to right now. Okay, but right now, meaning right now, I decide who I am, meaning right now, not 5 minutes ago, right now, and I decide who I am, and then I start being that. Okay, so who is this person? It's be, do, and have in that order. So I am the next top earner in this company, okay? Earning X amount of dollars, whatever your goal happens to be, okay? And you've got reasons for these goals, and they're known goals, okay? Confucius say, man who shoots at nothing is sure to hit it, right? So we got to have a target, all right? So what is our target? What is our intention? What are our standards? That's what I started our conversation with. My standards are really high. Okay, so based on those standards, which I've just determined for myself right now in this exact moment, that's who I am. I'm the person who accomplishes that. Great. What decisions does that person make? Now make those decisions now and then take action. Then you'll have what that person has, be, do, and have. So you got to decide right now who you are and begin at once, behaving that way, communicating that way, with that intention, with that knowingness of a guaranteed future outcome. We know our targets. There's nothing arbitrary or vague about our targets, okay? And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to have those things come to us because we're going to outflow as the person who accomplishes those goals. That's how we do it. That's how we hit the so-called reset button. It's be, do, and have in that order. You cannot have different results without becoming someone you hadn't been before and thereby doing things you hadn't done before, okay? This is the hardest work there is, by the way. Henry Ford said thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably why so few people engage in it. Direct quote from Henry Ford. He knew something about making money. So here's the second thing you can do is refer to the great thinkers of history, because what you put in is what comes out, right? That's why Karla can say at a moment's notice, John, come join me on this call, and I've got something to talk about because I've been studying this stuff for 30 years. Go grab a copy of Think and Grow Rich or some other book that instructs and inspires, right? And I read a chapter a day, right? What you put in is what's going to come out, right? And then people are like, oh my goodness, you're so profound, you're so enlightened. Oh, thank you. That's nice. I didn't originate these words though, right? I mean, I read the other guy, and he read the other guy. So it's not like some new truth or something. Some of you may remember the movie The Secret that came out a dozen years ago or whatever. And it was a secret and it was suppressed. It's a secret of success. And oh my goodness, be careful sharing this because it's so powerful. They don't have a new truth. They just packaged it in a DVD and said it was a secret and sold $200 million worth of DVDs. Good marketing stuff, but it's the same damn truth that's been around forever. So who's doing this? Decide who you are and be that starting now. And it's not easy. It's not. Otherwise, everybody would do it. No, most people are just reliving what they've inherited from other non-thinking people. Generations of ignorant but well-meaning friends, family, and neighbors and whatever, right? We all get to be on the slow boat to nowhere together. No, this is a bit more self-determined. So that's what you need to be, self-determined. Decide who you are and then be that. That's my best advice.
You know what? I have all kinds of things to say after that, but that is like the perfect way to end our time together. I love this idea of be, do, have. It was something that I struggled with when I first got started because I was becoming a brand new person rather than this corporate drone. And thank you, John, for your time today. I cannot wait to have you back out. You've got big goals, and I know this whole team is rooting you guys on for president, double president, and as you lovingly put into my head many years ago, double leprechaun galactic so-and-so.
The titles. I don't know what the titles are. I'm not attached to titles. Call me whatever you want. Call me the head janitor. I don't care. I just want the result.
Right on. And I know
intergalactic Captain Kirk, friggin' whatever. Okay, great.
Thank you for your time today.
That was absolutely fantastic. I loved it, and this has been recorded, so I'm gonna listen to this over and over and over. Excellent work, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Karla. Thanks everyone for dealing with my morning rant, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again real soon.
Right on. And just for those of you that are asking where this will be posted in the WGN Toolbox in the Pro account under Marketing Mojo calls. They're all recorded there and archived for our listening pleasure. John Lavenia, thank you for being here with us today. Congratulations to all of you on making your decision on who you are going to be starting now. Have an awesome day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.